Hello and welcome to Where No Way, and we're here to talk about the Justice League of the New 52.
For those who don't know, but let's be honest, how can you not? On August 31st, 2011, DC Comics canceled all of their outstanding titles and rebooted the canonical universe, putting out 52 titles and calling it the New 52. If you want my opinion on the DC reboot at this point 2 years later, I can sum it up in one word: clusterfuck. DC Comics at the beginning of 2011 saw an all-time low in their sales and figured they needed something to boost their revenue. So even though they had kind of done this thing back in 2006 with Infinite Crisis, DC decided it was time to, quote, resimplify and reboot their universe once again. This time, instead of simply reintroducing the multiverse, or merging the multiverse, or killing off Jack Kirby's New Gods in a confusing but otherwise alright miniseries, DC Editor-in-Chief Dan DiDio decided to basically perform a Chris Benoit diving headbutt right on the history eraser button. From there, superheroes have been around for about 5 years or so. While it wasn't immediately determined what stories were considered canon and what weren't, the fans had believed that a lot of the history would just be condensed and not altered too much. Then we got Tim Drake never being Robin, Wally West and Donna Troy never existing, Superman and Flash's marriages were wiped out completely, and Wonder Woman and Superman were made a power couple. For those who may not have seen it, I was actually at my local comic shop when the relaunch began, and I picked up the comic I am going to review today, as well as the final issue of Flashpoint, which I will get to eventually. But until then, we're going to spend the next 3 episodes talking about the first arc of New 52's Justice League, starting with issues 1 and 2. The first page of the comic opens up thusly. There was a time when the world didn't call them its greatest superheroes. There was a time when the world didn't know what a superhero was. Because the very idea that somebody could fight crime outside of the confines of the law in the pursuit of justice has never even been considered in any form of media before this time. Apparently there were no such things as comic books, TV shows, movies, memorabilia, or paraphernalia of action heroes prior to the 21st century. Oh, and the Bible and other mythological texts were never written to inspire such characters. So, in other words, it's the world according to L. Ron Hubbard. Police helicopters pursue a cloaked figure who's also being chased by Batman, because as we all know, the party don't start till Batman shows the fuck up. They decide to fire on both Batman and the figure. Batman dodges the bullets, tossing smoke bombs at the helicopters to disorient and blind them. Which seems kind of silly considering that helicopter blades create updrafts that would suck the smoke up and away, or otherwise clear the smoke out of their path. It's kind of like trying to stop the Hulk with a brick wall. Or by knocking the Hulk out with knockout gas after punching him in the stomach. The figure tries to make a run for it, but Batman shoots a grappling hook through its leg. It pulls him forward, giving him the momentum to tackle his prey. Damn, the torque on that grappling hook must be insane. Or did the leg going forward drag Batman? It's not really clear to me. What were you doing at the docks? Talk before I... Sweet Jesus, man, what the hell did you eat? The creature has Batman down and bloody, then all of a sudden a green fire truck flies through the air and slams into the monster. Check that off the list of sentences I never thought I'd ever have to say. We then see Green Lantern has arrived on the scene. Batman, you're real? I mean, aliens and rings that use willpower as a weapon's one thing, but guys who look like bats? Get real! Batman tells Green Lantern not to draw attention to himself, but it's rendered moot when the police start firing. They're wasting their bullets. This force field can stand up to, well, anything. I've read about your conflicts with the Air Force out west, so I know you know the drill. I know the drill. They don't like us. Public distrusts superhero populace. Sounds familiar. Anyway, Green Lantern shields Batman and himself from police fire. The Beast wakes up and spreads metallic wings, knocking Green Lantern away while it belches energy at police copters. Though from this angle, it apparently suffers from really bad food poisoning since it's firing out both ends. Speaking as someone who's had terrible food poisoning before, it feels about as good as it looks. Green Lantern saves the police choppers, and the creature changes into a more insectile form, scurrying away. What is that? A transformer?
It just changed into some kind of dog. How many dogs have pincers and scuttle where you're from, Hal?
At this point, it's time to institute the play-at-home Derp Lantern drinking game, where every time Hal Jordan says or does something boxes on your head idiotic, take a shot. In fact, take 2 for the last 2 dumb things he said. Batman tells Green Lantern to piss off. Gotham's mine. Coast City's yours. No, this entire space sector is mine. That's the terms we agreed to in the divorce, Hal. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Also, anyone else notice that the first 2 heroes we see in this New 52, Batman and Green Lantern, were being written and overseen by then DC Golden Boys Grant Morrison and Jeff Johns respectively? I'm not saying this was an unsubtle statement to everyone else that Grant and Jeff run this bitch. I'm only saying that it's a really, really huge coincidence that the 2 introductory heroes in this very first book of the supposedly brand spanking new DC universe are 2 characters whose history and continuity were altered the least. Green Lantern continues to show off, putting out fires across town while simultaneously following Batman down a manhole. What are your powers anyway? You can't fly? No. Super strength? No. Hold on a second. You're not just some guy in a bat costume, are you? Are you freaking kidding me? I've been out in space. I've seen wonders so grand and vast that I weep for my fellow humans who will never know its glory. I've seen alien species of all different types of physiological capabilities, some of which I've still yet to understand completely. But a man dressed in a bat suit, that's the line! Batman decides to show up Hal by swiping the Green Lantern ring off Hal's finger. Take a shot. How the hell did you get it off? I don't see any buttons, so I'm guessing it works off concentration. You weren't concentrating. You were admiring my ass, weren't you? I'm sorry, but it's spoken for. Hal tries to pick a fight, but Batman shushes him as they spot the creature fashioning a mother box from New Genesis onto a sewer wall. Hal thinks it's a bomb, so he rushes in. The monster shouts out a declaration. For Darkseid! Hal constructs a safe to protect him and Batman from the explosion. Darkseid? What is that? A band? And now, coming to the stage, the Lord of all evil, the one who is all, the new god, Darkseid!
Who's ready to die for Darkseid?
Batman figures the monster, now known to the reader to be a parademon, tried to kill the heroes with the explosion. He inspects the mother box. It doesn't look like a bomb, more like some kind of alien computer. Hal puts forth his hypothesis. Alien? Maybe this is all connected to that guy in Metropolis. Superman! Hal, I get that this is supposed to be at the beginning of your time as Green Lantern, but really? Was this your first day back from Oa? Have you not readjusted to life back on Earth yet? They say he's an alien. He is, and he's dangerous. I've researched him. His power levels. You're probably expecting an over 9,000 joke, right? You see, I'm more curious as to how Batman could measure Superman's power levels, or even hack into a facility that contains said power levels. So, with that in mind, how does he know how dangerous Superman's power levels are? And if you say it's because he's the goddamn Batman, fuck you, you still have to explain it. Green Lantern, rightly believing that power levels are bullshit, grabs Batman and takes him to Metropolis. Meanwhile, we see a high school football team called the Ford Titans in the middle of a game. Victor Stone scores a touchdown and Talent Scouts go wild over his athletic ability. However, as the Titans... get it? Celebrate their victory, Vic looks at the stands and finds an empty seat where his father was supposed to be. Later in the coach's office, Talent Scouts are making offers for him to play for their colleges. We're prepared to offer him a full scholarship right now! So are we! Oh, to hell with those losers! I'm willing to offer him a scholarship, plus a brand new BMW, his own dorm building, and all the poontang he can eat. That's right, my university is willing to pay an escort service for his entire college career to have girls on call to service him whenever he needs. I'm talking pussy on demand. It's better than Netflix, it's Tickflix. You might as well call me Cumcast. Victor stands outside the office on the phone talking to his dad's voicemail. His father apparently promised to visit the game but never bothered to show up. Wow, what a dick. The coach holds the scouts from tempting Vic while his fellow teammates look on in envy. Man, look at him. He's got it made. What's with that line? Does it even need to be there? It's as if Johns is trying to add unnecessary tragedy to the foregone conclusion of Vic's accident and transformation. We know it's coming, and a throwaway line like, "He's got it made," is not really making much of a difference. A girl shrieks seeing Green Lantern flying himself and Batman in a fighter jet construct. Yep, nothing but low profile for old Hal Jordan here. Take a shot. It's one of them! But it's not Superman! Speaking of the dim lantern, he and Batman land in Metropolis. You flew us to Metropolis in a glowing green jet? You can't fly, so how else were we going to get there? Talk in a deep voice? Fun fact, that line was apparently so terrible that DC Editorial decided to take it out of the trade paperbacks. Don't believe me? This is from the single issue. This is from the trade paperback. You know what? For something this stupid, I think you should take 2 shots. Batman rightly points out that they might as well have had "Shoot Us" written in neon green on their asses. He thinks Superman was in the middle of a battle when Green Lantern just strides in. Here's the plan. Green Lantern goes in there and restrains Superman for questioning. Batman waits here. Yeah, because it's not like your ring wouldn't be able to identify that Superman is Kryptonian, who gains insane amounts of power via a yellow sun which Earth happens to orbit. It only knows what the Guardians of the Universe know, right? Wouldn't the planet Krypton destroyed or not fall into that purview? Take a shot. Hal says he can handle it, but then is decked so hard he makes a crater when he lands. I don't handle easy. The last page of the issue shows Superman standing over Batman with red eyes take warning. So, what can you do? Since I'm not yet aware of the existence of kryptonite, I think the best I got is filling my bat undies. I really should have brought my brown costume today. Issue 2 starts with Barry Allen trying to convince his superior to let him continue working on a murder case, but his boss isn't having it. The chief wants everyone working on the Flash case, Allen. Everyone. On the Flash case. Wait, seriously? Is there some kind of emergency crisis we don't know about? The chief of police is having every single police officer, lab tech, and detective in town trying to find out who the Flash is? Really? I mean, if there was some evidence he was a terrorist, or if there were massive amounts of damage when he ran or anything else, I might buy that he'd get in a task force or something to hunt the Flash down. But purposefully letting cases run cold to catch one guy, regardless of him being a super fast person, is downright irresponsible. We know your daughter was brutally attacked, and we know the guy who did it. But we would rather spend all our resources, time, and manpower chasing a guy in red tights who can break the sound barrier. Bye! We then go back to Metropolis, where Batman has emptied everything in his arsenal at Superman, including tear gas, tasers, and sonic grenades? Wait a minute. Superman, who has ears so acute he could hear a paramecium break wind, and sonic weapons have no effect on him? Are you fucking kidding me? Ugh. Superman shoves Batman against a brick wall, or it could be a Nerf wall from the looks of it. He demands to know if Batman and Green Lantern are working with the parademons. Talk, before I won't let you. Ah yes, the choking them for information, but not letting them fucking talk bit. Nice move. Green Lantern re-engages and tries to wrap Superman in chain constructs. Chains? You're funny, Green Lantern. Seriously, why not just break out whips and handcuffs while you're at it? Take a shot. Superman's eyes glow red, which means he's going to flex and break the chains. Okay guys, seriously, what's with having Superman's eyes be red almost constantly? What, is he suffering from pink eye? Batman, again rightly, points out to Green Lantern that he's outclassed. You can't stop him, Lantern. He's strong. He's fast. Yeah, well, I know someone who's faster. Hal then proceeds to call Barry while in a fist fight with Superman. Take a shot. Speaking of, Batman, again, rightly, tells Hal that he needs to concentrate on Superman kicking their asses all over town. Hal panics when Superman breaks the shield, causing Barry to arrive. He spins Superman around, then palm strikes him down the street. Flash demonstrates his quickness by dodging Superman's every attempt to grab him. Don't bother trying to catch me, Superman. I've never been touched. You know. Cooties. Superman responds by anticipating Flash with a backhand, but stops short. He then flicks Flash into a hot dog stand down the street. Batman manages to get everyone to calm down, finding that it was indeed a big misunderstanding. The military find the heroes, forcing them to go underground. At Star Labs in Detroit, scientists are trying to figure out the Mother Box. They haven't been able to find anything except that it's broadcasting a signal and that other signals were detected in Washington, Coast City, and Central City. Dr. Silas Stone, Victor's father, is told his son wants to see him. I don't have time to see him right now. He seems pretty upset. Again. For God's sake.
Why couldn't he just join a band or get stoned like a regular teenager?
Victor chides his dad for not showing up at the game. Scouts were there. They were there to see me. Coach said every single one of them offered full scholarships. Victor, you don't need a scholarship. I'm paying for your school. MSU is a fine university, but you shouldn't be spending your time playing games. I like it. I'm good at it. I can go pro, Dad. Everyone says so.
Open your eyes, son. The real money's not in football, but interpretive dance.
Silas tells Victor that with the rise of superhumans, football players like him would be made obsolete.
Catching footballs and scoring touchdowns is a joke.
That's right, because humans won't have a need for games and sports and the need to keep physically fit. No siree, we'll just watch speedsters zoom back and forth across a field for 3 hours. Silas rubs salt in the wound, confirming he'll never visit Victor's games.
Anti-gag! Wherever there is hope, I will stop it! Where self-esteem rears its shiny head, I will be there to kick it in the testicles! Now leave me alone. I'm off to destroy your brother!
Back in Metropolis, Batman, Flash, Superman, and Green Lantern inspect the Mother Box. But not without snappy banter like this.
An abandoned printing press.
I don't have a base of operations.
Note to self. Must not tell anybody about Fortress of Solitude. After all, it can't have solitude if everybody knows where it is and wants to have a kegger.
Hey, Flash. What?
I say we ditch Black and Blue and figure this out ourselves.
How, from what I've seen so far, you couldn't figure out Velcro?
What about the ones who made your ring? Couldn't they tell you what it is?
The Guardians do tell me everything, so if my ring doesn't know, neither do they. And since a majority of GL's canon is still in, allow me to retort with bullshit! Superman can't see through the Mother Box to figure anything out. I could take it in for analysis and see if I can find any fingerprints or traces of DNA. Maybe someone else came into contact with it. And that's not a bad idea, except for the parademons don't have fingerprints that we know of, and even if you did get any DNA evidence, there's nothing to compare it to because most likely any carriers would be of alien origin and they wouldn't exactly pop up in any federal database.
You sound like a cop.
I am. I work for the crime lab. Barry, you're exposing your identity! And you just call me Barry, genius. Take a shot. Suddenly, the Mother Box in Metropolis and Detroit vibrates simultaneously before bursting in an explosion of energy. It turns out they open portals to an oncoming army of parademons. The blast bathes Victor in radiation, searing his body. Silas looks on in horror as we see the last page of the comic, Victor's body alight with energy.
As an introduction into the new DC universe, this is not exactly putting its best foot forward. I think with all the shots, you folks might need a break, so we're gonna stop for now. Come back and see me next time when we take a look at issues 3 and 4. See you then.
it's raining.